Hey, Catalyst crew. Welcome to Catalyst Corner, episode 119. I'm Evan.
I'm Jim.
And we've got some stuff on the docket today. We're going to talk about some movies. We're going to talk about some big sales. And, maybe we got a little something for the internet crowd later on. How you doing, Jim?
Doing okay. Didn't think I was going to make it here today. There's a giant accident out there. Miles upon miles. I'm glad that you didn't... the studio here isn't any further away than what it was, because if it was...
Just block, bumper to bumper.
It's from the 93 exit, which, if anybody's from the area, you know what I'm talking about, all the way down to 93.
Both sides or just the one?
Just the one.
Yeah.
But it's like miles past this exit.
Wonder what happened. Jeez.
Yeah. So it's crazy out there. So that was fun getting here today.
So I had a bit of a hell week last week.
Yeah. What happened?
Yeah, I pissed off, some ethereal entity, deity, something. I did something wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
So, beginning of last week, my computer restarts.
Okay.
Right? No big deal. I'm like, all right, maybe it was an update, whatever. Then it starts doing it pretty frequently. Just no errors or anything, just a restart. So I said to myself, oh, maybe it has a virus, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't really think it does. It's a work computer. I'm not really doing stuff on there that would merit a virus.
Sure.
But who knows?
Right.
Maybe I clicked on something that I didn't realize. Maybe, who knows? So I said to myself, I'll do a system restore. That's a smart thing to do.
Right.
So I run the system restore, and then I go and do a couple things for work, and then I come back, and I got a big screen on there that says, you're fucked, basically.
Oh, wow.
Like system error, blah, blah, blah. So I start doing all this different stuff, and I'm trying really hard to recover everything because, again, this is a lot, the computer is the brain of the business. Right?
Sure.
So, like, if that dies, uh-oh. So I try a bunch of stuff. Nothing's working. And then I go, okay, well, let me do a recovery because sometimes that'll work.
Sure.
So I go to do the recovery, wipes the hard drive.
Oh.
So everything that was on the computer is gone at this point.
Okay.
So now I'm in sort of damage control because I'm like, okay, so I've lost everything that's not backed up is gone.
Is gone.
So, all right, how do I fix this computer? So
Right.
I bring it to a computer store.
Okay.
Because it's beyond me at this point. I've tried command prompts, nothing's working. So I'm talking to the guy and I'm like, so what do you think? Can you take a look at it? And he goes, no, I am 3 weeks out on repairs. Okay. And so I go to another place, same deal. So I go back to the first place and I go, I know you can't look at it. I said, I'm pretty computer savvy. What do you think it could be? And he goes, maybe a hard drive issue. I said, you think the hard drive just burned out? Yeah. So he sells me a hard drive.
Okay.
Pop it in. It's doing the same thing. So at that point, I'm like, all right, well, guess it's time for a new computer. So fortunately, I went on, online, and Best Buy was having a sale.
Okay.
So I was able to got a brand new rig.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. And it's about 85% of all of our stuff was backed up.
Oh, good.
So the only stuff I truly lost, which sucks because they're big sellers right now, are the serial killer prints.
Oh.
So
okay.
I had to remake them. So I've remade 2 out of the 4 that we have.
Yeah.
So I got to remake the 2 more.
Okay.
But the other issue that we're running into is the software. There's no way to back that up, and there's really no way for me to get the software back without rebuying it.
Right, right.
So we're kind of in a bad spot for like the T-shirts and stuff. So if you ever want to start a business, don't.
Yeah, there you go. Sage advice.
Just don't.
Yeah, just don't do that.
It is. Even when things are working, like just one thing can cause catastrophic failure.
Yeah.
But I'm taking it in stride.
Good. That's good.
The cast is still going.
Right.
We have that all backed up and everything. And so we got that to deal with, which was fun. Highly recommend that.
No, that sounds enjoyable.
And
sounds like a good time.
One of our 3D printers fried as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it was really getting hit. We got hit there. We got hit with the 3D printer. And then I went into the mall to check our stock.
Yeah.
And the dice tower wasn't there.
Oh.
But the dice tower didn't sell.
Right.
Turns out someone broke it.
Oh.
So someone went into a local maid store, just to be clear what happened, broke an item, didn't tell anyone, and just walked away. You know who eats the cost of that item? Us.
Yeah.
So thanks. For whoever did that. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so that was my 3 for last week.
Oh, yeah, no, that's plenty.
Yeah, so that was a lot.
Yeah, sounds like a good time.
Yeah, so gotta have balls of steel starting a business.
Right. Yeah, there's going to be pitfalls. You don't like them all at the same time necessarily.
No, that was 3 in a row where I was like, oh boy, I need a vacation.
Absolutely.
I can't though because it's the holidays.
Right. Yeah, busy season.
But we got the biggest issue was the computer, and that got rectified.
Yeah.
So we're
that's
okay.
Good.
We're okay.
We're going.
So what have you watched?
So I watched a couple things.
As did I.
One I thought was okay.
Okay.
One I despise with every ounce of my being.
Oh, I love that.
So the first movie that I thought was okay, we watched The Substance. Have you seen that one yet?
That's the Demi Moore one?
Demi Moore one.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's okay.
I think it got glazed by Hollywood.
Yeah.
And I struggle with shit when that happens because I just thought it was okay as well.
Right.
But I like when they kind of push horror movies. You know what I mean? Like when it actually gets...
Yeah. I thought the premise was interesting.
For sure.
I thought the ending was a little bit way too over-the-top campy and it kind of lost it a little for me.
Even with the practical effects and everything. And
just because, it
was a little out there.
Yeah, the amount of blood that was coming out through the hallways and stuff, right? It was comical at that point. And then you get, the face going to the... It was like, it ended like really campy, so it kind of threw me a little bit there.
Okay.
But I thought the premise was interesting because,
Well, I think the reason it got glazed so much is because it does speak to sort of that vanity that is Hollywood.
Right. And you didn't, my thing is, what did you expect was going to happen, right? Like what happened throughout the movie is like that. Of course that was going to be the case. Like you can't outrun getting old and the younger generation coming up taking your spot.
No matter how much chemicals or filler or plastic surgery or Botox or any of that stuff, there's no and what's very interesting now that you bring this up is I was scrolling through Reddit the other day, right? And someone posted a picture of George Clooney and Brad Pitt.
Okay.
And the question was like, do you think that like them being in the position they're in, right, where they have chefs and home gym and trainers and everything that a human could want.
Sure.
Do you think that allows them to sort of age slower than your everyman? And I think to a degree it does, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like you fucking get older.
Right. I think that what helps them is they have money where they don't have to worry about where the money's coming from. Which lessens your anxiety.
Right. There's less cortisol in your life.
Right. So, yeah, does that help extend your life? For sure, because you don't have stresses and pressures.
But it's not like you're getting 150 where everyone else is getting 70.
No. Do I think you live longer? No. Do I think that you might look younger? Yes, because, again, I think that some of the wear and tear that, your average Joe like ourselves go through, they don't have to. So, yeah, maybe there's less wear and tear on the body, and maybe that would give you the perception of looking younger. But I don't think, but even with the ability to go to the gym regularly, having chefs that make your food so you're eating a good diet.
Well, not even a good diet. You're talking about like a scientifically perfected diet. Like what humans should eat to maximize their nutrition they're getting.
Right. And I think that, again, helps with the aging. To a
degree.
Right. It helps with the aging and the look of aging. But, make no mistake, they are getting enhancements, whether it be fillers, Botox, hair plugs. All of those things certainly are going to help with that appearance.
And that's not to say in 20 years, they may have a shot you can take that can slow it down or anything like that. But where it all stands right now is you can put a fresh coat of paint on the car, but the engine's the engine.
Right, exactly. And the thing is, when you look at that that movie, right? Like Demi Moore looks good for her age.
For sure.
She looks good. But then you bring that other girl, the young girl, in, and it's like, well, there's no comparison anymore. Like you can't compete at that level.
Right. And in an industry where looks are a big part of it.
Right. Yeah, you just can't compete when you're looking for young, fresh, beautiful face. You just can't compete. There's nothing you're gonna do. No amount of plastic surgery is going to get you to look like that.
No.
So,
well, the substance will.
Right. Well, the substance will get you, and it did. And it certainly got her.
So that one you give that.
That one. I thought it was okay.
Do you give that a watch, or do you give it a?
I give it a watch
if it's free.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't. Pay. Like rewatch. I wouldn't pay, and I wouldn't rewatch it. But I would definitely give it a watch.
I don't think that one. There's too much to get out of it after the first viewing.
But let me tell you something that I just despise.
Okay.
I saw The Naked Gun, the new one.
Okay.
I hate this movie with every ounce of my being.
Okay.
The Naked Gun, the original, I hold to the highest of standards of comedy.
Leslie Nielsen.
It, to me, is the zenith of comedy.
Okay.
Right? I like it more than Airplane. Airplane would be number 2. The Naked Gun is number 1. This movie, I thought, was such a rip-off piece of shit. It was so... It was... Two 10-year-olds watch the original Naked Gun, and they're like, you know what? We're going to say, pee-pee and poo-poo for the first time in hell and damn. And it, like, two 10-year-olds wrote their version of the Naked Gun. It was so... Not only was it unfunny, but it was so juvenilely just horrible. And just to have the Naked Gun name attached to it makes me sick to my stomach.
Now, do you think it was horrible because of the writing, or Liam Neeson just not cut out for that role?
I think Liam Neeson sucked horribly. But you know what?
Odd role for him.
But you know what's funny? Do you ever see the small cameo in Ted 2?
Yeah.
Right, with the Lucky Charms.
Yep.
If he played it like that, it might have been
funnier.
Better.
Yeah.
But he played it like he's a fucking circus clown. Pamela Anderson was awful. Everybody in this was awful.
Very weird casting choices there.
It was so like I said, when you take this movie, like I said, compared to the number one comedy in my estimation that was ever created, and you attach this as, this being the legacy. Everybody was saying this is the greatest comedy that has been in like 10 years.
Yeah, because it got a lot of praise.
Yeah. I thoroughly hate this movie with every ounce of my being.
Brutal.
That's how much it disgusted me. I just thought, like you're making jokes of bestiality. I mean, you're trying to make comic out of it, and it's like that was supposed to be funny. Like you're pretending to have sex with an animal, and that was supposed to be comical in some sense, and just. It's just like you took two actors that don't have comedy chops, and you could tell how poorly that they, do comedy. It was so just everything about it. The writing was atrocious. The acting was atrocious. The comedy was just not funny. It thoroughly disgusted me after I watched that. That's how much I hated it.
Oof. That's a pass.
That is a hard pass.
Wow.
I hope that movie just falls into a crater of abyss.
I don't think it. I mean, it's funny that you say that because again, when it sort of came out in theaters, it kind of did get glazed a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Another one,
right?
And like since its home release, you don't really hear anything about it.
No.
Like, you know what I mean? Like not on TikTok. Although, that being said, even when it came out, there weren't like clips on TikTok or anything.
No.
So I don't think it resonates with anyone really.
Yeah, I mean,
but again, I haven't seen it, so I can't.
Yeah, I mean, watch it. You'll probably want to watch it now after I just said this, just to see how.
Now that you've given it that review, I'm like, maybe I gotta sit down.
Yeah, I just hope I hope they don't make any more. I really don't. I hope that this is not the start of a trilogy or anything like that. I hope that. I mean, I know they're going to because, like you said, Hollywood praised it. It made some money. So more than likely they're going to do another one, but I am completely out. I am just I couldn't be more out of a franchise than this. What about you? What have you caught?
So I caught a couple.
Okay.
So a little preface to the first one.
Mm-hmm.
When we started the business, I really liked doing. I wanted to do the stuff that kind of I wanted to do.
Sure.
I was like, I'll do some Oni masks and, Japanese paintings and things like that. And, I'll put all this time and passion and everything and they'll sell really well. And having done this for a couple years now, that's not the case.
Right.
The stuff that I like to do, and I think this is very true with a lot of the arts,
sure,
is that a lot of times the things that you like to do aren't necessarily what's going to keep the lights on.
Mm-hmm.
But what I found is, and I don't particularly like making them. I'm pretty good at it, but I don't like making them, is the serial killer prints.
Okay.
I don't really like making them. I think there's something macabre or morbid about sort of profiting off of real life murderers,
right.
But you guys listening don't agree with me because you keep buying them. So,
and thank you for that.
Right. Appreciate it. I'm not complaining. Don't stop buying them.
Right.
But again, it's just from a there aren't too many, moral shortcomings that I have in this business, but that one always feels a little dirty.
Mm-hmm.
And so about a month ago, I made the Ed Gein print.
Okay.
Because I was like, the Ed Gein show is coming out, so I'll make the print.
Oh, did you see the Netflix's?
Now I haven't watched any of the other monster shows, but I made the print. The print's been selling really well.
Right.
So I said, okay, I'm going to watch monster, the Ed Gein Story.
I have not yet, but I do intend to see it.
Okay, so I'll try not to spoil it for you, but I'll give you my honest take on it. So I went into it going
I know what happens. It's a real story.
I'm talking about the nitty-gritty of it all. Oh, yeah? You know what happens, do you? 1950s, you know what happens?
I do.
So I was like, let me watch it and see if I'm going to watch it just as a consumer. Like, I already made the piece, so I don't need any inspiration or anything. Like, I'm going to watch this just in the mindset of, true crime buff, want to watch it. And I don't know, they don't really do anything for me. That's not to say that it wasn't good or bad. I don't know. I mean, I don't really get it. I don't really get it. Now let me give you the nitty gritty on how I felt about knowing the Ed Gein story and all that. Yeah. So Charlie Hunnam, great job.
Is that who plays it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So he does he's a great actor.
Sure.
Right? I mean, I don't think there's too many I've seen him in where I'm like, this fucking guy.
Right.
So he nails it, right? The lady that plays Mother Gein fucking nails it.
Okay.
Nails it. Where I kind of get caught up with it is they fabricate a lot of stuff.
Sure.
And I guess I was under the impression that these were supposed to be a little more true to life. Mm-hmm. But I guess not. I guess not, like, having watched it now and read some, critiques of sort of the other, monster or whatever. Yeah. I think it's very much just entertainment. Like,
okay, they take a lot of liberties with the story.
Like, there's stuff that definitely didn't happen that he, they're putting on him, and it's like, he didn't do this shit. I think atmospherically they fucking nailed it.
Cool.
Yeah, so great vibe. Little slow pace, little bit slow in the pacing. And it's disgusting. Like, it's pretty gross. Like, if you're going in going like, this better be gross. Like, yeah, it's gross. It's pretty gross. So you'll get all that. I'd say it's a watch.
Yeah.
I'd say I'd say watch it. But yeah, the liberties that they took I thought were weird. I thought the voice that he chose to do for Ed was odd. Like, having heard the snippets of what he actually sounded like and everything, like, it's almost akin to it's not Bane, right?
Okay.
But like you look at Bane and you're like, this motherfucker's gonna sound like a monster, right?
Right.
And he and he doesn't. He's and then with Ed Gein you get this fucking like, hello, my name is Ed Gein. And I'm like, oh, I don't know about all that.
Yeah.
And the other funny thing is, now Charlie Hunnam is British.
Right.
So sometimes when he's yelling as Ed Gein, the accent slips. And I'm just like, bro, you just went from Wisconsin simpleton to fucking British Lord.
There we go.
So shit like that I kind of was distracting.
Sure.
But, without going too much further in it, because if you're going to plan to watch it, I don't want to spoil too much. But they do this thing where they kind of outline sort of the impact that he's had on America.
Okay.
And they do that through, they kind of cut to different time periods throughout the show. And they show sort of the making of Psycho, and they show sort of the making of Texas Chainsaw, and how he's, again, this story that is, as far as serial killers go, sure, him digging up bodies and doing all that weird shit is fucking crazy, but as far as the people that he killed, like, it's a pretty short list.
I think I want to say he only killed a couple people.
Yeah, I think confirmed it's only 2.
Yeah.
And so, for a guy that only killed 2 people, to have the impact on sort of the zeitgeist that he's had, be it through Hitchcock or Hooper or even Silence of the Lambs they cover, you know, it's just kind of this incredible sort of, I guess, story that kind of snowballed out of control and turned into this, you know, monster that changed the world sort of thing.
Right.
So like them covering that, I thought was even almost more interesting than the Ed Gein stuff, because it just kind of gives you that perspective of, you know, yeah, what he did was crazy and monstrous and horrible, but as soon as it gets into the hands of Hollywood, it becomes almost a legend.
Right.
Right? And that's not really something you get with sort of the, you know, the other serial killers. Like, yeah, everybody knows Ted Bundy and Gacy and all that shit, but they don't inspire, they didn't inspire films like Psycho, like Texas, these monumental pieces of cinema that, you know, are kind of just wrapped into the Ed Gein story. So I really like that. Like, that to me was really, really well done. And then they do a little, I don't know if you ever saw that show, Mindhunter.
No.
So that was a two season banger. Real good.
I remember you mentioning it.
Yeah. And they do almost like an homage to that at the end of it, too, which I loved, because I was like, fucking, let's make more of that. That's a good show. So, yeah, I'd say give it a watch.
Okay.
I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know. So that was the first one I watched. The second one I watched was The Toxic Avenger.
Oh, did you see the new one?
I did.
I'm looking forward to seeing that at some point.
So again, without spoiling it, I think I liked it.
Okay,
is what I'll say. I think I liked it. Now, but it kind of brought up this thing that I wanted to talk to you about.
Okay.
So obviously it's Toxic Avenger 2025,
right? For
sure. And I think it's definitely made with that in mind. It's still very violent.
Okay.
It's still gross. Like, there's still all the gooey, ooey bits and all that shit.
Yeah.
The two things that well, the one thing that really threw me was the fact that he wasn't wearing the suit.
Right.
Because you can tell it's not him.
Yeah.
And that I didn't like. Because it's just like, it's weird. It's weird to have this lady wearing the suit and him doing the voiceover, and it kind of looks like this lady, and it's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So that I didn't care for that. And then the other thing, and this is more so because it's Toxic Avenger, is yes, it was violent. Yes, it was gross, but it wasn't crass.
Oh, okay.
And there wasn't any nudity in it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
So it kind of got me thinking about sort of the 80s style of horror and everything. Not the Toxic Avengers really horror, but, you know, the hard R 80 movies, right? And what I think is so interesting about sort of today's, you know, R-rated movies and everything is I remember watching 80s horror and you know, whatever you want to call Toxic Avenger, just the hard R, you know, RoboCop, like that type of shit. And it almost, you know, and again, I was young, right? But it almost felt like you were, like, getting away with something.
Sure.
Like, hey, I know I shouldn't be watching this, but, like, oh, man, I'm watching it, and it feels so good to watch it.
Yeah.
Right? And I feel like since Hollywood has kind of moved away from, you know, a lot of the nudity and you know, the crassness of the 80s, a lot of these R-rated films today don't feel like that anymore.
Right.
So a lot of times today what you'll get is maybe you'll get like a dark psychological piece, or you'll get something like, look at the darkness of man and lo and behold his follies, right? Things like that. And there's just not that fun that you had. Like it did. It felt like, I remember watching Toxic Avenger when I was a kid, right? And some of the shit was over my head because I was young, but again with the nudity and everything, and I was like, oh man, I'm watching this, but I shouldn't be watching this, and that goes for a lot of the 80s movies. RoboCop had the hyper violence, Friday the 13th had the nudity in it and everything, and there's just not, that stuff just doesn't exist anymore.
It's funny you say this because I was just 2 days ago, we were watching Friday the 13th, the final chapter.
Yeah.
And tons of nudity.
Yeah.
And I said that to my partner. I'm like, it's just gratuitous fun because you're supposed to be having fun. You're supposed to be enjoying yourself.
You're breaking the rules.
And then when the violence and the murder happens, it takes you out of fun into scared, right? You have to make that transition, whereas nowadays you don't, right? It's you're already, it's like you said, it's dark, it's psychological, but so you're already kind of in a different mindset.
But even with the Ed Gein stuff, right? There was nudity in that, but none of it wasn't fun,
right?
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like it just feels like movies have taken we've gotten to this point where all movies take themselves so fucking seriously that like you can't, like there's just that spirit of, I'm getting away with this, like this is, I'm being sneaky, I'm watching this when I'm not supposed to be, and I know I shouldn't be watching this shit because I'm either too young or whatever, but there was just a spirit of fun in those movies in the mid to late 80s, early 90s that I just don't think Hollywood sort of understands anymore.
No. And that, goes back to a thing that we've talked about a million times here. There was no message to be had other than we want you to enjoy yourselves. That was the only message. They went, it was full into whatever it was that they were trying to do. It was just a
roller coaster ride.
Right, but it was always meant to be fun. You're not supposed to come out of there with some deep, meaningful message. It's not supposed to be philosophical. It was, here's a pair of tits because it's fun. And enjoy yourselves.
Right, and that's the thing is, so I liked it. I did like it.
Good.
I thought
I'm glad.
I thought it was good, but it was not the Toxic Avengers of the 80s.
Yeah.
By any stretch.
Yeah.
By any stretch, and I think there is something lost there. Like it was fun enough, but if you had someone watch Toxic Avenger 85 or whatever year it came out, who had never seen it, and they got it, right? Like you got to get someone that actually gets the whole 80s vibe and everything, and like, again, that campy sort of fun mixed with violence and horror and everything. And then you showed them this one. I mean, I can't imagine people would be like, oh yeah, that's the same thing, because it's not.
Sure.
It feels like it's almost been bleached.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It does, and it's a shame to hear that, but yeah, that's unfortunately the way it goes. They can't. Hollywood can't relax. They can't take the stick out of their ass to relax and just put out a movie, because back in the 80s, again, if you were offended, you were offended. They didn't care. either watch it or don't watch it. That's your choice. But everybody's meant to be offended. It's how much offense do you take? But nothing was meant. When I say offended, there was no political correctness to it. It was we're going to just do whatever.
I think a lot of it wasn't like mean spirited or anything.
It was never mean spirited. Right. It was always meant to just be fun. But you had, again, if you took offense to it, that's on you. Don't watch. But we're not gonna not do it because someone might get offended. They never went into it with the thought somebody might be offended. It's like, hey, if they get offended, they get offended. Fuck it. We don't care.
Right. And I think, part of me wonders if, like, maybe Hollywood had a better handle on what teenagers were in the 80s versus what they are now, because I can't for the life of me, or maybe that's not even true. Maybe it's just that the teens have evolved. Like, again, they've come up in a world that is very, politically correct, and there are certain things that you can't say because you'll get canceled and things like that. Maybe it's just a world that is a little bit less, I don't want to say fun, but different.
When we were kids, the world was colorful, and now it's gray. The world is gray. And it's just the way it is.
Well, I think for me what it is if you're going to do a remake of an 80s property, like you fucking better buckle up and capture that 80s spirit, or don't make it.
Right. Make it for the people that would come out to see it. Hope that others will give it a chance, but make it for the people that would actually support it.
Right.
That are fans of the Toxic Avenger.
Right. And the thing is without all the crassness and the nudity that was the Toxic Avenger, it felt half baked.
Sure.
Because I was like, oh, all the violence and stuff is here, and the humor is still pretty funny, and everybody's doing fine, and they're Dinklage is going to do fine and everything, all of that stuff. But again, they changed the character completely.
Yeah.
He's a dad now, and it's a whole different sort of dynamic. So it's things like that, and it's I didn't dislike it, but it definitely felt like a toxic, a Toxic Avenger for the modern day, I guess is
for the modern audience.
No. See, I wouldn't say
not
it's
the
for
modern audience.
I wouldn't
just
say for
modern day.
Yeah, just very
dynamics,
right? Very careful about how far they would push things and stuff. Not really shying away from anything in particular, but just well, we're not going to do any of the nudity, and we're not going to do any of the crass sort of that, because they were fucking animals in Toxic Avenger. Right. It's goofy. It's ridiculous.
But that's the thing when you saw, because again, when that came out, right, they had no idea what that was supposed to be, right?
Right. No one knew.
Right. We didn't know. And it came out, and it's like, what the fuck did I just watch? That's one of the greatest things I've ever seen. It had everything.
It was an insane roller coaster.
Yeah, it was.
And that's kind of my opinion on it. I hope you get a chance to watch it.
Yeah, I'm hoping to soon.
And I'll be curious to see what you think of it. But that was my thoughts on it. Is I think it captured the spirit of it.
Yeah.
But to me, it just wasn't that. And I don't know if it's just because I'm older now, and as you get older, you sort of lose that whimsy or whatever.
Sure.
But it's just not as fun. Even now when I watch Toxic Avenger, it's fun. It's fun to sit there and watch it. And, some of the shit you're like, oh my God.
Right.
How did they get away with that? But that's sort of the essence of it is like you're supposed to feel like you're getting away with something by watching this. Like, I know I shouldn't be watching this. I'm getting away with it. And I didn't feel that way with this one. I didn't feel at any point I was like, oh, I shouldn't be watching this.
No, I mean, you watch it and you like, I know this is wrong, but I'm having a great time watching it.
It's a fun ride.
I know it's not right, but I get it's just a movie. We're not going to go out and go do those things.
And that's the other thing of it, is that I think we need to, like, as a society, realize that not every movie is going to dictate the zeitgeist. Like, some movies will. Of course they will. But, you know, again, just from what I Psycho, right? Like, there are these huge movies, but Toxic Avenger's not going to dictate the zeitgeist.
No,
didn't in the 80s, didn't today.
No,
so you have fun with it.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what I caught.
Yeah, nice.
What else you got for me?
So, you know, the big rumor going around right now, and I'll say it's a rumor, even though, you know, actual contracts are being passed, is that Skydance is looking to buy Warner Brothers. And if you don't know, Skydance just bought Paramount, and they're, you know, looking to purchase Warner Brothers, which is for sale because it's in terrible, terrible financial condition. And, you know, pretty much it's been said, hey, if this thing gets done, you know, Zaslav is gone. You know, there will be no place for him.
No,
within the new company.
I think Zaslav did what he wanted to do, gutted the company, and made it ready for sale. And he'll get his golden parachute and move on to the next company to gut. Like, that's there are CEOs out there that are just there to gut companies.
Right. I think he was there to keep it afloat long enough to get to this point of sale.
Now, I don't think it's a good idea for Skydance to buy it, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I think that if we look at Disney as the model, I think when media companies get too big and get too many properties, it becomes problematic, and they aren't able to deal with it correctly, and we as audience members and consumers are the ones that suffer for it. And Skydance just bought Paramount, and his father just bought TikTok. So I think giving Skydance another huge, I mean, that would put Skydance at roughly 30 to 35% of all IPs that are out there. And I think that when Disney got into that space, maybe initially they were doing okay, but now Star Wars is dead, Marvel is in its death throes, and when was their last hit? Right. So to me, giving one company that much control over, you're giving them Paramount, their entire catalog. You're giving them Warner Brothers, and that's an extensive catalog. I think it's you know, again, money talks, right? And, you know, antitrust doesn't seem to be a thing anymore.
Right.
But from a consumer standpoint, I think it's bad news for us, because I think, again, when you have a company that gets that big and owns that many IPs, at least what we've seen from Disney is that they can't handle it. And if Disney can't handle it, I don't know why anybody thinks that Skydance, you know, a Trustafarian fucking billionaire's son, is going to be able to handle two different movie studios plus a social media empire.
Right. And, you know, so that goes down to, you know, it boils down to, you know, who do you have helping you shepherd this stuff, right? I mean, obviously Disney made really bad choices in who are the studio heads. And that brings me to, you know, the rumor of James Gunn, that it sounds like he would be gone.
But why? Well, at what point does it? This is exactly what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Is that you finally have a home run with at least the start of the DC studios, and you want to get rid of James Gunn?
Well, so here's the thing, right? I mean, because, and this is where it gets dicey, and this is what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Right. Superman. We talked about this. We both liked Superman. On paper, you're going to say, well, it financially lost money in theaters. So I'm looking at just paper. I'm going to say, well, it lost money. And then you put out Peacemaker Season 2, and you're going to say, well, okay, Peacemaker Season 2, you lost, 35, 40% of the audience from Peacemaker Season 1. So that, quote unquote, was a failure. But I look at it and I'm like, but if you look at it from a different viewpoint,
you can't look at these things.
Is it a failure?
You can't look at these things as isolated pieces these are all just puzzle pieces. And to me, whether Superman was a commercial failure or a success, people were talking about Superman.
Right.
People liked Superman. People dressed up as Superman at the cons after this was done. It's not just about the solo movie. It's the fact that people were excited about where DC was going again.
Right. And people didn't like the finale of Peacemaker, but what James Gunn is doing is he's world building right now.
Right.
We got Salvation Planet at the end of Peacemaker Season 2. So, again, you have a planet where criminals go, when they're beyond Arkham and Belle Reve, which you've also been establishing that. You've established Belle Reve, you kind of touched upon Arkham.
So, right, let the guy cook for a minute.
You introduce Checkmate, which is, again, another group. So you have Argus, you have Checkmate. You're building the world. And now, when Lanterns comes out, that's supposed to then move the needle forward as well to get to Man of Tomorrow, right? So that something is going to happen. So, what... You're building blocks to get to ultimately where you need them to be, as opposed to, okay, here's Superman, here's Batman, here's Wonder Woman. Everything, nothing was really fleshed out well.
No, there was no world building at all.
No. So, I don't think you can look at it, just by dollar signs and say that James Gunn is a failure. And for him to get booted so early in the development of this thing, which, again, you just started because you had the DCEU fail miserably with Snyder. You had to relaunch it. You've just done that.
I don't think you get a third chance. I think if they boot Gunn, you're going to have to take a break.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, again, you could try to get somebody else in there, but and try to quote unquote fix what you think is wrong. But again, I don't know necessarily that anything's wrong. Like, yeah, we can sit there and say that Superman was somewhat divisive, that not everybody loved that movie, and it wasn't everybody's Superman, but more people, at the end of the day, again, barring Cavill himself, the movie itself is better than Man of Steel.
Agree.
We can all feel for the stuff that Henry Cavill has gone through, and we've talked about this numerous times. Yep, he got a raw deal with Superman. He got a raw deal with The Witcher. The guy has had some bad luck thrown his way, but that doesn't negate that this Superman movie is better than Man of Steel, and it generated more buzz with the normies than Man of Steel did, and it generated merchandise sales, which Man of Steel did not.
But I wonder if the problem is, and we've spoke on this before, like the only thing that's making money right now is fucking Demon Slayer.
Right.
Like the younger audience does not care about superheroes. Like I don't know how much clearer I can be on that. They don't care.
Right.
When we go to the cons, the majority of cosplay now, the majority of it are dressed up as anime characters. They're not dressed up as superheroes. They're not, like, I will see one or two Jedis walking around, maybe a Vader, and that's about all. And that's, I mean, over the last 2 or 3 cons, that's all I've seen for Star Wars.
Right.
And for superheroes, let me think. I couldn't even, like, Rocket Man.
Yeah,
like,
but the thing is, right? But the thing is, this year you've got some Superman.
Yeah,
last year you had
none.
Superman.
There was no Superman presence at all.
So people,
I think they need to taper expectations on what. I think what happened was, superheroes. They had their time in the sun, and. Again, every movie was making $1 billion, whether it was good or bad. And I don't think that is the reality anymore. I don't think these movies have the ability to make $1 billion anymore. Because I think that you've kind of jaded the older audience, right? Like they haven't liked anything you've done in a while.
Right.
So they're jaded and they're not, not that the movie-going experience is in a healthy place anyway, but you have a jaded older audience, and the younger audience just doesn't care because they want to watch Demon Slayer, and they want to watch One Piece, and they want to watch, K-pop Demon Hunters.
Right.
And that's the shit that's doing well. So, I think where the studios are struggling is they don't own the IPs to any of this stuff.
Right.
And the Japanese studios that do are big enough to tell them to go pound sand. So, like, you're not going to compete with Demon Slayer. You're not. There's nothing you can do about it.
Right. Right. But, you have to then... But that's the whole point, right? You have to adjust your mentality to, yes, okay... If we bring our budgets down, then
which is what they should be doing.
Then we can make a profit and still be it'll still be viable, which is what they should be doing going forward. But here's the thing, right? Does anybody at all mention the Fantastic Four at all?
No.
Nothing.
No.
Nothing.
No.
That movie is like it never happened.
Yeah,
that's how inconsequential Fantastic Four is. Superman still gets a little bit of talk, though. Even to this day, right now, months later, Superman still gets some talk.
People made memes of it and stuff, and people didn't make memes of Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four went... a movie that no one cared about.
Yeah.
It literally no one cared.
But that's the thing is that's why I'm kind of looking at Doomsday and just going like, yeah, all right. Like who cares? Who cares? And the thing is I think I don't want to say superheroes are dead. I think that's too strong of a statement. But I think that the world has moved on from the superhero craze. And I don't think they're getting it back.
No, I don't think it'll come back to the level that it was, but it could still be very profitable if you make the necessary adjustments to what the reality is now and going forward. But when I look at it and I look at, Superman, and we talk about, Supergirl upcoming and Man of Tomorrow, right? I'm interested in, okay, what do they have in store? I'm excited to think of the possibilities.
I thought there was a lot of road that he gave himself. And I was like, I'd love to see what he could do with Constantine. Mm-hmm. I'd love to see what he's going to do with Batman.
Yeah.
I'd love to see, I want to see Man of Tomorrow. I want to see Supergirl. Let's get Brainiac floating around. You have all these tools in your tool chest that you can use. And to me, if you get rid of Gunn, no one is going to be able to replace him and pick it up to the same degree that
no,
especially with the tone that he set.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that someone else couldn't do it. I just think that this universe is very much a James Gunn universe,
right? And
I just think it's a foolish move to.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, I'm not looking forward to Doomsday, and I don't really have much hope what comes after it. That's the difference right now for me between DC and Marvel. I'm excited about the prospects of DC.
If they stopped after Secret Wars, if they're just like, that's it, that's the end, instead of rebooting it and just said that's the end of the superheroes, like that's your it opens with Iron Man and it ends with Secret Wars, and that's it, and you're not getting any more. I don't think anyone would be too upset.
No. I mean, there'd be certainly fans that would be, but I think majority would be, okay, we'll move on to what's next.
Yeah, and I honestly, I just think it's one of those things that, comic books have always had staying power,
mm-hmm.
and, what's interesting about sort of the superhero genre as a whole is that it works really well on small screen. Like, it works really well in the animation side of things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for a while it worked really well in live action. But I think at this point, the problem is that, you sort of, like, you've kind of busted your nut at this point. Like, Dr. Doom is not a bigger threat than Galactus.
Right.
And
he's not, again, he's on par with Thanos.
Sure. He's definitely a Thanos level threat, but he's not a Galactus level threat.
No.
And, so you're kind of doing a lateral move to your villain. Obviously Kang was a failure, and there's just really nowhere for them to go. But there's really nowhere for them to go.
But the funny thing is, in hearing rumors about Doomsday, it sounds like the Russo brothers are like, okay, and this is rumor, Captain America went back in time to re-put the stones where they belong.
Right.
But he decided to stay in the past.
Right.
Well, he created this incursion, and the incursion is what has, is causing the issue with Dr. Doom, and Dr. Doom now wants to kill Captain America to stop him from doing that, right? So basically what the Russos are saying, we're going to pick up where we left off in phases 4 and 5
and skip
don't
it.
matter.
Right. Well,
don't matter.
I think that's a good play.
It's a good play, but here again, it goes to show you how fucking terrible Kevin Feige is at his job and doesn't deserve to be there, because it's so meaningless and so hated. But that being said, it's like, okay, but then what? But then what? Okay, you could, the incursion is going to cause the X-Men to come through, just like the Fantastic Four. Okay, this is how you're going to make, and then you're going to get to Secret Wars, and you're going to close off the multiverse, and you're going to, pretty much reboot everything. Okay, but then what? Okay, like, if you bring back Iron Man, not Doesn't have to be Robert Downey Jr., doesn't have to be Chris Evans, doesn't have to be Chris Hemsworth. You just the characters are coming back.
Right, but what story are you going to tell?
Right, what are you telling going forward after you do that?
That's the hole I think they've painted themselves in.
Right.
And I think with DC, where DC really hasn't had an opportunity to tell any stories, really.
Right.
I think they have a real opportunity to sort of, do you want to go the Brainiac route? Do you want to go the dark side route? I mean, there's some room to stretch there.
But you have, besides Batman, which, you've had some good Batman, right? But you've never really had good Batman and Robin.
No.
So that's going to be something fresh. But other than that, you haven't really, besides origin stories, haven't really fleshed out any of the other DC characters all that much.
No.
So you have so many stories to tell.
I think it would
with
be cool.
Those characters.
I think it would be cool to get a Constantine movie.
Sure.
Not a Keanu Reeves Constantine 2. I'm talking about, give us something more in line with
Matt Ryan-esque.
Right. Matt Ryan-esque. Obviously, he's too old now.
Yeah.
But, give us something like that. Give us a real Constantine.
Yeah, give me some Justice League Dark.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying is lean back into a darker Swamp Thing. Like, that Swamp Thing TV show was fucking awesome.
Yeah, but you can have Swamp Thing and Deadman and Constantine and Etrigan.
Right.
And they could have, their spot in what they're doing. And then you can have the superheroes doing their things, and then you could have the lanterns out in the cosmic.
But the trick of it is, especially with the dark stuff, it's a different flavor than
right,
because everything is so, even as much as I liked Superman, right? It's just all the same.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? And so I like Superman more for what it's offering towards the future, more so than an isolated movie.
Right.
But it, again, it's just, Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts doing the right thing and blah, 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 blah. Where I think you have an opportunity, and it has worked, right? Like they did, Joker 1 was very successful. Obviously, Joker 2 wasn't.
Right.
Though it should have, in my opinion, never been made.
Right, I agree.
Clayface looks very interesting.
Very interesting.
I think what the path going forward should be is and I've been calling for this for a long time, is like, give us the nittier, grittier characters. Give us this darker, scarier stories in the superhero genre, because it's different. It's just different enough. There's still, Constantine's still a fucking DC character, but he's not a regular superhero.
Yeah.
And it's different enough that you can still pull in the superhero crowd, but it's refreshing because it's not just, Metropolis is split in half because of the multiverse again. Right. You know what I mean? You're actually introducing different elements that we didn't have.
Yeah.
You have the demons. You have Deadman. If you could do Enchantress right, she could be a great.
Yeah.
Sort of.
You've
addition.
never done Zatanna.
Never done Zatanna. No.
I mean, but the other thing too is the villains. Lean into those villains. The
right.
DC villains are 10 times superior than most of Marvel's.
Yeah, I've always said that DC has a, Spider-Man aside, I think Spider-Man has a good rogues gallery.
Right.
But I think overall DC has a better rogues gallery than Marvel by a long shot.
But all of the villains are just as interesting as the heroes. And you don't have to. And
I'd like to see a Mr. Freeze.
And Batman, yeah. And even Batman aside, because he's got the greatest.
Right.
You have so many other great villains that are interesting.
I think a good example, though, is of leaning into something that's a little darker, still fantasy themed, is and even with all the controversy and everything, Sandman.
Yeah.
Sandman did banger numbers for Netflix when it first came out. And even after the Neil Gaiman stuff came out, season 2 still did really, really well.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, is that you still, again, is Dream a superhero? No. But it's still got that comic book vibe without it being, men in capes.
Right. But but that's the whole thing. You can have a segment where, and again, everything can be connected, but it doesn't have to be rigidly connected. Everything can be loosely connected.
Right, just like how you saw Matt Murdock in Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
Like we saw him beating people to death in the Netflix show. And then he popped up in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He's not beating anyone to death in Spider-Man, but he's there.
Yeah. But I mean, I want to see Dream. I want to see Death of the Endless, and I want to see Lucifer. I want to see all these characters, but I want them to interact with Constantine and Swamp Thing. All of those characters, they all should be interacting, and at some point, just like in the animated, Constantine needs Batman's help, and or vice versa, right? There's a supernatural threat. Batman can't handle it alone. He contacts the Justice League Dark, and now you have that but that doesn't all have to be so rigidly connected where they're always in every single movie together.
Right. I think very much that Justice League Dark should be doing their own thing.
Yep.
And if you want to have a character bleed in or bleed out of, I think it's trickier to bring Dark into the mainstream DC Studios stuff. But I think there's nothing that says you can't bring Batman in and have a full-on Justice League Dark thing going on. I just think the opportunities... I don't know if part of the problem is... Like, the studios don't give a fuck, right?
No.
Like, they don't care about superheroes. Like, don't for a minute think that any of these guys are fans or any of that shit that are running the show.
No, not at all.
They don't care about it at all. They just care about the money. So, because they don't care about it, I wonder how much they know about these characters. And it's like, yeah, but you're leaving, even if you go with the darker stuff, I mean, you'll be able to pull in some of the horror crowd too. Like, you're talking about something that appeals to superhero fans, that appeals to horror fans, and is a different enough flavor of the superhero genre that it may reinvigorate sort of the people that are kind of fatigued with all this shit right now. That's why I was really excited when Blade got announced, and then obviously that's a dead project. That's never going to see the light of day. And I was excited when they kind of revamped Daredevil, but they just weren't able to, kind of get that to where it needed to be.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think personally, I think they should go with the darker characters, because again, how many times are we going to see Iron Man fly around? Like, how many times are we going to see Superman save the day? And maybe DC to a lesser extent, but again, Superman and Iron Man and all of those kind of, generic superheroes, I think that's what people are kind of tired of. I don't think it's so much the superhero genre or anything like that. I just think they need to, start looking into some of the more interesting, give me Ghost Rider.
Right. But when you look at, like, say, Captain America, right?
Yeah.
Captain America does his thing, very heroic, right?
Yeah.
Captain America 4 was the same Captain America. Like, he did the same thing.
Well, that's what I'm saying is, like, there's really not...
Right. It doesn't... That's the thing. It's Captain America is so pigeonholed into being one specific thing.
I think the other problem is that, we're all kind of, like, we're very used to the threats at this point.
Right.
We're used to, even with Galactus, right, with Fantastic Four, but we had Thanos. So, like, we're used to that extraterrestrial threat. So where I think you can kind of refresh it is, well, if you do like a dark, well, the threat is actually demons now. Well, all right, wait a minute, that's different. Like, that's not extraterrestrial, that's not terrestrial.
Yeah.
That's a whole different ball game.
Right. And I mean, if you want to start the threat of dark side, go back, and again, you could go back to
I'm not saying don't make the...
No, but what I'm saying is, they did such a piss poor job of the parademons in Suicide Squad.
Awful.
But you could start there. You could unleash the parademons, make them formidable. That's where the Justice League Dark is going against. But now you've started the threat of Darkseid, right? So now, okay, Darkseid's looming. There's the parademons.
Right.
Something's coming. How are we going? The Justice League Dark isn't going to be able to handle Darkseid.
No,
so now,
right.
how do we handle?
And nor should they.
No. So now I've got to. Okay, hey, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. This is what we've been dealing with. I'm telling you what's coming. We're going to have to figure this out. And so now you build to something, and that's how you integrate it all. But you have this big threat coming, and you know what you don't do? You don't kill them. You don't fucking kill your villains like Marvel does every single movie, which makes them completely ineffective.
He gets sealed away or he gets teleported somewhere, and I'll be back.
Right. Like, hey, we've opened up a boom tube. You get him back in it. You launch him back into his planet.
Right. He's on Apocalypse. He's stuck there.
Right. Like he's trapped maybe, or you sent him, or again, James Gunn just created Salvation Planet, so you end up putting him on Salvation Planet, and he's stuck there for right now, and you start, adding more villains to it, and now all of a sudden, you've got the Legion of Doom getting created, and that's going to be a really large threat that, more superheroes are going to have to come into the fold. Like, those are things that you can do to build not only anticipation, but now you have reasons to bring in all these other villains and heroes, and you're seeing something different. And with Marvel, like I said, what are you going to do after the heroes come back? Like, I don't want to see another fucking Black Panther movie.
So here's the thing, especially with Marvel, like you had Werewolf by Night was awesome.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I was like, oh, this is a cool side of Marvel live action that we've never really had access to. It's darker. They had Man-Thing in it, and you could run with that. You could do Blade stuff in that sort of a vein. You could do Ghost Rider in that sort of a vein. I think you fucked up with Moon Knight, because Moon Knight belongs in that vein,
right?
More so than what you gave us. And like, you have these really cool characters that are just sitting on the shelf, and have been on the shelf for so long. It's just like, again, like, give us that other side. Give us that side that is not sunshine and rainbows, the good guys are always good type of thing. Give us Ghost Rider, give us Blade.
Yeah, but they can't, because Ghost Rider doesn't contain Miss Marvel, and Blade doesn't contain Captain Marvel, and you can't do Moon Knight because how does Ironheart fit there? That's what Kevin Feige cares about, and until he stops caring about characters that only he cares about and not the fans,
right. That's
then
the problem.
It's not going to happen.
And the other thing is like, bro, you got to make those. You've made them. You made them, and they didn't do well.
Right, you made them, and you see the results.
But you made them.
Right.
So, okay, bro, you made them. They didn't do well. Why don't you give these other characters a shot?
Yeah, but
I'm
can't.
not saying it has to be Johnny Blaze, or like, it doesn't. You can pick a different Ghost Rider. I would prefer Johnny Blaze, but again, I'm not I would rather get a Ghost Rider than no Ghost Rider at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but again, it really doesn't matter whatever Ghost Rider you choose. That's fine. But, again, you did what you wanted to do, okay? You failed epically. You failed spectacularly.
Right, it didn't work.
But you did it, okay? You got away with it. How you didn't get fired is beyond me, but you got away with it. You did what you did. Now you got to take a step back and say, okay, I stroked my ego.
Right, I made the try. I did the try. It didn't work out the way I wanted it to. What else can I do?
Right. So now, okay, let me look at other heroes and see if there's any juice in those. Like, yeah, Moon Knight sucked. That show was awful. But that doesn't mean you can't use that character and fix it. You can. If you do it correctly and put it in the proper spot. Again, I don't need Moon Knight by himself. You can put, give me the Midnight Suns. I would much rather see the Midnight Suns.
Yeah, but again, Midnight Suns, you're getting into vampire territory with that.
Yeah, and do that.
Which I think would be awesome. It'd be cool to see Mephisto. Like, I think Midnight Suns would be an awesome story to tell. But again, that's a story that you have to tell on the dark side of things.
Right. But I mean, again, you might, that might just be your Disney Plus. You may not make movies out of it necessarily. And that's okay. You could make good Disney Plus shows. But you have to do something different. You have to, you can't just keep on making, capes. I'll say capes as in superheroes. It can't just be
just your traditional,
the same traditional superhero trope over and over. Here's an origin story. Here's a villain that gets vanquished at the end of every single movie, and then this is now a new Avenger that's added.
Right, flying through the sky, blah, 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 blah.
It's just so trite. It's been done a million times now. There's nothing left to it. And at least James Gunn is trying something different. I mean, whether it fails or succeeds, the jury's out on that. I think he still needs time to, let his vision grow. I don't think that after, 2 TV shows and a singular movie, you can say that anything. And real quick, and I don't know if we have a little bit of time, but
yeah.
This just brings me to my next point, just real quick, that I want to make. We watch a lot of YouTube, people that do the same thing that we're doing here. Here's my message for YouTube. Not everything sucks.
Yeah.
It doesn't all suck. Not everything's the worst. Not everything's a failure. Not everything sucks. Not everything's non-redeemable.
I think it's
it's fatigue. Fucking monotonous.
I think it's fatigue. Is that when all you're doing is criticizing everything that comes out. Like, what do you fucking like, bro?
Right. Look, I despise Disney Star Wars. But I can tell you something good of every single movie and show that has come out.
Same.
It overall, is it fail? Yes. Do I dislike it and wish it never got made? Yes. But I can at least say something positive about every single thing that Disney Star Wars has done. I can do the same with Marvel. I can't do it with Willow.
I mean, it looked pretty.
Yeah. I mean, even Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, right? There is some stuff within a bad movie. Just like when we talk, like I said, Superman. No, Superman didn't suck. It may not be what you like. It didn't suck. There's a big difference. Not everything sucks.
You have to be, if you want to be in that space and you want to offer critiques, you have to be objective. You cannot just say this was a bad movie.
Right.
You can't. You can't. And a lot of them are just out there rage baiting their viewers. And, I get it. You're going to do whatever gets you monetized and makes you money. But at the same time, like, you're not doing anybody any favors by saying every single thing sucks. Every video game that comes out sucks.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And it gets tiresome. Like, look, again, hey, financials are financials. If the movie flops, the movie flops. But that doesn't mean necessarily that the movie was bad. Because, again, going back to Fantastic Four, right? People seem to say the movie was okay.
Yeah, it was okay.
If the budget was in line and it made, instead of being, $400 million to make this movie.
If it was a $150 million movie and it netted the $650 or whatever it made, I think that would have been okay.
Yeah, but again, you could still say, hey, it wasn't a great movie.
Yeah, but
this was okay.
There is a turn. These studios are starting to get the picture, and I think one of the most telling instances right now is that new Rock movie.
Yeah,
that did terrible numbers. Terrible. And the thing is, if he wanted to make that movie and just not take a salary or whatever, they could have made that movie on the cheap. He still could have done this passion project or whatever, and maybe it would have had a shot. But because he's The Rock and he needs his $25 million minimum per picture fee, that movie had no fucking chance.
Yeah. Yeah. But going back to the 80s, right? I don't even know the financials of any of those movies, but I know movies that are just as popular in 2025 as they were in 1985, because those movies people loved, and they are iconic, and they're cherished, and they're just as popular today as the day they came out. They may have flopped at the movie theater. I don't know. I was a kid. I wasn't paying attention to movie financials. I don't care. I like what I like. It doesn't matter to me. And that's my whole point. We can't just everything. You can't just say because it didn't make its money that the movie sucks. Maybe it didn't financially get successful because, hey, we spent a little bit too much.
Well,
the movies aren't as popular anymore as they were.
I think part of it is that if the world had stayed the same, right, then what they're spending on movies now makes total sense, right?
Sure.
Again, in the early 2010s and the mid 2010s and stuff, every movie was grossing $1 billion and getting higher and higher and higher, and the budgets were getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and all of that made total sense.
Yeah.
But where it stops making sense is the world changed. People don't go to the movies anymore. That's a dying industry. Everybody has streaming now.
Yep.
Right? And the audience has said, we like having agency over how we watch a movie. When you go to a theater, you have no agency.
Right.
Right? When you watch a movie at home, you have total agency over your experience. And, as streaming has become bigger and bigger, I think the majority of people say, well, I like watching it at home. And you can argue with me on that, but the numbers don't fucking lie.
Right. Yeah. I just think that you can't, again, yes, was Captain America 4 a bad movie? Yes, it was a bad movie. That's fine. And you can and you can say it is. But you can't just say blanket statement, everything is terrible. Everything about everything is terrible if it doesn't align specifically what you want. Again, it's not and that's where I think it gets a little bit too egotistical at times. It's like, not everything is catered to you. Okay, there's a lot of people out there that have different likes, and you're trying to cater to a mass audience, so not everything is going to be perfect all the time, and there's going to be failures. I'm not saying that nothing is a failure. There certainly are failures, but you just can't sit there and say everything about everything is the worst.
I think it's foolish to say Superman wasn't a success.
Yeah, I do too. Again, we can look at it and say, okay, well, yeah, it was about $40 million shy of profitability, but because they pulled it from theaters early and put it onto PVOD, they probably made that money and then some. So, in essence, Superman probably is profitable in the scheme of things.
And again, that's not counting merchandising,
right.
And that's not counting the goodwill and excitement that you've built back into the franchise.
Right, but you're just going to look at, I'm just looking at theaters, and based upon theaters, Superman didn't make money, so therefore it's a failure. No, it's not a failure. Superman, again, like we just talked about, Superman there was very little interest in the zeitgeist for Superman outside of comic book fans. That rejuvenated Superman back to normies, where again, now we saw Superman cosplay again. You're seeing a lot of, we saw a lot of T-shirts over the summertime with the new Superman logo. That rejuvenated, the Superman property.
It brought something back.
Right. So it's not a failure, okay? If you're just going to look at everything through one lens and criticize it,
that's what bothers me, because especially with this type of stuff, with like these superhero franchises and everything, it's way more complex than just, well, did the movie do good? Mm-hmm. It's, well, the movie didn't make what we wanted it to make, but it did reinvigorate a desire to see either Superman or DC or whatever. You can't say the same for Captain Marvel, the Marvels, Black Panther 2, like none of that shit. Like people, again, you can go to Ollie's and go buy the fucking discounted toys because nobody's fucking buying them.
People did go to comic book stores to buy Superman comics. They did not do that for Fantastic Four. No one went to the comic book stores because they were interested in reading Fantastic Four after the movie. Superman, there was a large increase of people that went to comic book stores to buy Superman comics.
I mean,
that was
all
well
that being
reported.
Said, like, Fantastic Four has never gone toe-to-toe with Superman.
No. But I'm just saying that when you look at all the things that Superman did, right? 500% increase in dog adoptions after
because of crypto.
All of that stuff matters when you look at the grand scheme of what did Superman mean to the population. But yet, people on YouTube, all they want to do is look at, well, it didn't make money, therefore it flopped.
Right. Snyder's
didn't do nothing.
Snyder's made more. No, again, and that argument is so frustrating to me because it's like it made a little bit more at a time when the movie theater business was booming.
Yeah. The height of Marvel at that time. So superhero movies were at a zenith at that time. Movie going was still an extremely popular destination, and again, that Superman movie launched the DCEU. People weren't disgusted with the DC universe because it hadn't, all the other movies that came after that totally killed that franchise to need to be rebooted.
Right. So
none of that had happened yet.
So that's why I hate that argument when people are like, "Oh yeah, it did." What was it, like 20-something million more than?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, but again, look at the environment we're in now.
Right.
Like, the fact that it was even able to pull what it pulled should be impressive.
I just think that, it gets a little... Look, no one's going to say anything good about the upcoming Witcher Season 4, right? I highly doubt that anything good is going to come of it.
You mean the global phenomenon?
Yeah. I think it's going to be a massive failure. And overall, it's going to go down as a failure. But a
failure that should have been a layup.
Right.
The Witcher TV show should have been a layup.
Right. So, that's on the writers in the studio for doing what they did to kill it, right? So you can have critique because it is a failure. Although, Henry Cavill looked great as Geralt. The season 1 had promise, right? It wasn't perfect, but it had promise.
When season 1 was over, people were buzzing about it.
And there was a lot of people looking forward to the next season. So, again, when you look at, yes, did this, what's her name, Lauren Histrich, kill this thing and ruin it? Absolutely. Does she deserve all the scorn? Absolutely. But when you look at Witcher as a whole, it wasn't. It ends up being a failure, but there was something good originally, and they destroyed it. But again, you can't just sit there and say, well, that sucks, nothing good there. This sucks, nothing good there. This sucks, nothing good there. Like, you have to look at some of the things that come out of these things.
Even The Acolyte has its moments.
Yeah, I think seeing Plagueis,
very cool,
right, was cool. Now, again, it was a horrible destruction of canon and lore that you did it, but it was kind of cool to see the first ever live action version of a character we had never seen before. I mean, so again, I'm not saying that you have to like it or that it was good. I'm just saying that sometimes there's something positive that can be taken out of, and at least give credit for that. At least say, you know what, overall, The Acolyte was awful. It was a terrible show, should never have been made, but
it was cool to see Plagueis. Right. That's what I agree with you 100% on that. I mean, but with that, let's wrap this one up and put it to bed.
Yep.
Jim, as always, pleasure. What do you got going on?
Yeah, just working on a new project. Just keep your eyes peeled on the socials because something's going to be coming out pretty soon in relation to that. But there was a cover drop the other day, so there's going to be some story behind it pretty soon.
Very cool. All right, guys, that's episode 119 of The Corner. You know where we're at. CatalystCrafting.com is the main website. Catalyst Creations NH is the Etsy store. We're going to be at Rhode Island Comic Con on November 7th through the 9th. Should be a pretty good show. But what do you guys think? Did you see The Substance? Would you take the substance?
Don't.
Don't take the substance.
Don't do that.
Is Naked Gun a burning car fire? Is Jim wrong?
I am not.
Did you watch Ed Gein? Would you make a chair out of people?
Please don't.
Don't do that. Have you seen Toxic Avenger? Do you feel like it captured the spirit of the 80s, or do you think it played it a little too safe? And do you think it's a good idea that Warner Brothers is getting sold to possibly Skydance? Do you think that'll be a good merger? Do you think it would be good if they started making superhero films that kind of veered on the darker side of things? Let us know in the comments. All right, crew. Catch you on the next one.